So in this video we're going to take a look at two low spin drivers, and these two drivers look phenomenal. Great looking clubs in that low spin category. So if you're trying to pull that spin down a little bit, maybe one of these two drivers is worth looking at. Oh, that's a bomber. Wow. I've got two crackers in my hands for you in this video, which are going to hit both and obviously give you some numbers and some data, my personal feelings. TSR4 is a low spin driver with the 4 heads that Titleist offer. Fantastic driver. And then we've got the newly released Mizuno STG 440 driver. So again, their lowest spin version of the models that they offer. So we're going to start off with the Mizuno. So the STG, the 440 stands for 440cc capacity. So typically the drivers come in and standard at 460, which is the maximum you can have. So 440, a little bit more compact. And that's a general theme you will see in low spin drivers, is generally they'll go into that little bit more compact look. And we definitely see that beautiful shape. I've done a review of this and I was very, very impressed with it. Great looking club, as we always expect from Mizuno, to be honest. So we'll get going with this. So 9.5 degree this particular head, and I've got the weights in the bottom on the track shoved as far forward as I can. So this is in its low spinnest, if that's a word, the low spin capacity of this driver can actually get into. Okay, so good strike to kick things off, good low penetrating flight, a little bit up that left hand side, definitely looks low spin, and yeah, straight away out the blocks there, 1900 on that spin. So low spin drivers, why are they on the market? So basically for golfers out there, generally speaking, for the golfers with a lot of speed, generally would like to see something a little bit more low spin to keep that ball going forward. But having said that, there's plenty of maybe sort of high single figures, maybe even sort of teen handicap golfers that may sort of want to try and keep that spin down. So spin sometimes is very much dictated a lot with the player's delivery. So some golfers just naturally are high spin golfers just through their delivery and maybe a little bit their strike pattern. So they're always looking for something to try and pull that spin down, and these sometimes are a good option. So as I say, Mizuno, great looking club. We've got that black gloss top with that grey carbon showing through in the back section of the head. Does look very stunning. Black face. That's a nice shot. Good flight. Sounds great. Feels really good off the club face. Very solid feel to it. Good ball speed, 164 launch. So again, spin around that 2000 mark. So as we mentioned with the Mizuno, we've got the tracks with these 2 7-gram weights, and there's a ton of adjustability here. We can move those separately from each other, so we can have them right at the back to make it a little bit more forgiving, maybe a little bit more higher spin, higher launching, or we can shove them forward like we've got at the moment to make it more into that real fiery sort of setting in terms of that lower launch, lower spin, really getting that spin down as much as we can. You can also take them completely out and put them both in the heel or both in the toe, so there's a ton of adjustability there. Okay, and that will be a little bit of a test because that was a bit low in the face. So generally, as we know, when we hit low strike, spin goes up, and yeah, that has done as well. So that's one thing you've also got to look at, and maybe where you get on a TrackMan or a GC quad, is to look at maybe strike patterns. It's so important. Low in the face strikes typically just going to spin up. High toe strikes will typically really pull spin off. So you've got to look at your ball strike and your patterns to whether you see if the low spin driver is right, or it's just a case of trying to move your strike pattern. So of course for the Mizuno as well, we've got neck sleeve, so we can move that loft around. Also that lie angle, so again, a little bit more adjustability. That's a nice shot. Good ball flight. As I say, feels fantastic, looks great. I love the sort of deep face look of the Mizuno. I think the Titleist is going to be a very similar one. Generally, when you go in that slightly smaller CC capacities, tend to see a little bit more squat head, but then a little bit of a deeper face. Brings back a lot of memories of me of older style drivers with that deeper face. Oh, good strike. Good strike. Very nice. Enjoy hitting that. Love the look of it. The feel of it is superb, and some pretty decent numbers to go with it. Okay, let's switch over. TSR4. So the lowest spin version in the Titleist family of the TSR is the number 4. So again, squat head. This is 430cc, so it is 10cc smaller than the Mizuno, but again, we still see that very squat sort of look there, that little bit of that slightly deeper face. Probably not quite as deep actually as the Mizuno. A little bit different what's happening on the bottom of the club with the TSR4. We've got 2 sort of weights now which are fixed, but they can be changed. So what I mean by that, it's not on a sliding sort of rail. middle at the front, middle at the back. So obviously we've got two different weights which can flip around. So I've got the heavyweight in the furthest forward position. So again, I'm trying to play this in its most low spin sort of format, but you can move that around. But obviously we can't go heel to toe, maybe like the Mizuno. So maybe a little bit less of that adjustability in the weights compared to the Mizuno. This is a 9-degree head, but I've lofted this up. I've got this set at D4, which is put 0.75 more loft on. So it's 9.75, which is closer to the Mizuno, to keep this test sort of relatively equal. Oh, and that's a bomber. Wow, that looks to be in the air forever. 165, good ball speed, good spin, great carry there, 284. That was probably my perfect numbers there, really, for me, I would say. Straight away there, the feel was, or the sound was definitely a little bit different, which we know we relate to sometimes as feel, just a little bit, maybe slightly louder on the sound there. The Mizuno being a little bit more duller, which is quite a nice sort of solid sound, isn't it? This felt a little bit lively off that club face. And I think when I did my initial review, I think the 4 head definitely sounded a little bit different to the TSR2 and the 3. I think I prefer the 2 and the 3 sound. The 4, I'd say, just a little bit louder, but hit shots like that, you soon get used to how it sounds. Oh, and again, just a little bit of that left-hand side, but that flight is superb. Yeah, a little bit of club head speed, 114, great ball speed, just touching 167. I think obviously the Titleist has been hugely popular this year. And both of these drivers, just to note, both of these drivers will be continuing into 2024. So obviously the TSR range will go into its second year, working on an 18-month, sort of more of a 24-month sort of cycle, which is sort of not quite nice. I've just done a recent video with a couple of drivers that are definitely moving into 2024 and not getting replaced. So you can buy with confidence at this time of the year, knowing this is going to stay in the range. The Mizuno STG is obviously just recently launched a couple of months ago, back end of 2023. So that obviously will be staying throughout 2024 as well. So Titleist look behind the ball, just a black top finish, just a TSR as a little bit of a alignment aid. Good strike, just leaking a little bit of that right on that one. Is that going to catch a piece of that fairway? A wide fairway, to be fair. Yeah, just about. So a little bit of a slight leaky one. So again, look at the spin number there. That is changing now because obviously my face to path was my face was a little bit more open to my path. So that's always just going to probably pull up a little bit of spin, isn't it? So again, these are the things you've got to look at in your delivery. If you're consistent face open to path, a fader of the golf ball, you're probably going to see your spin in a slightly higher bracket. Even though we've got a low spin driver, doesn't mean it's going to be sub 2000 or in that sort of area. So again, you've got to look at your delivery. But probably what I would say when you move into these modern day low spin drivers, they're probably not like they used to be. These now are much more forgiving with the changeable of the weights as well to help that a little bit more. Ooh, so similar to that last one there. Good strike again, just a little bit leaky. Again, we're looking at spin on that one, probably just creeps a little bit. It wasn't as bad, that one, was it? But it crept up a little bit. The other interesting thing with the Titleist as well is the face. We've got this sort of VFT face, so this variable face thickness. And this is the same sort of face as we see in the TSR2. Okay, so the 3 face is a little bit different. The 2 and the 4, which you think the 2 being the more forgiving, bigger, sort of pear-shaped head design there, has actually got the same face. So that's where this 4 is definitely a little bit more forgiving across the club face. So I think, you know, if you did like that compact head, again, you've got the ability to put that weight in the back, which will give it a little bit more forgiveness. So if a look is a very important thing to you in terms of looking at a compact head as opposed to some of these heads that do look a little bit bigger, then this is, you know, don't be too scared with this because it is pretty forgiving. That's a lovely flight. Definitely just got this flying a touch higher against the Mizuno there. Get a little peeler left to right, but not a lot. So quickly look at the numbers between those 2 batches there. So I think dispersion wise, left to right, Mizuno just grabbing it on those little small batch we've hit. Yeah, so we can sort of see club head speed pretty much identical there. Maybe the Mizuno just edging it a fraction, but not a lot. Ball speed 163, 165.4. So Titleist definitely getting a little bit edge on a bit of ball speed. We will have a little look at strike. So that was the Mizuno heat patch and those 5 shots we've hit, and then you can see the Titleist. yeah, Titleist much more consistent on that. So that's probably where that bit of ball speed gain on that average has just crept up there. And we could just see that launch a little bit more with the Titleist at that 13 and that 225 spin, give me that 281. So that's where we're going to, a little bit higher launch with a control of spin. It's just crept me out those extra bit of yards with that touch more ball speed. So post your comments down below. Two great looking drivers in my opinion. Appreciate you watching the video as always, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.